problems, we gon' make a way. Got no coach on the field, but we making plays. Hey, look, don't worry, we gon' be okay. Hey, look, why? Cause we gon' make them pay.
Let's get on to our next game. Kind of come over towards the Midwest, and we're talking about Texas taking on Kansas State, who completely blanketed Georgia, Oklahoma State. And man, at one point I got up to like 3,000, and that was my play. I was gonna put it all on Georgia's Oklahoma State to win.
Good thing you did.
Against Kansas, and dang, I did not. But you know what I did do instead? I don't even know if you remember. I don't know if you was even locked in. But what I did take instead, but what I did take after that, I took Wake Forest for 3 bands, second half, minus a half a point. Thinking like, man, I like the way they played in the second quarter. Their defense got to settle down and stop Louisville, and I end up dropping. I'm saying all this to waste time because I'm trying to find my notes. To fucking to have 8 turnovers. They have set a college football record for the first time in history. 8 turnovers in the second half, 6 in the third quarter. 2 of those were pick sixes, and that was all she wrote Wednesday. But Kansas State took care of business is the topic that we on, and they got a chance to take care of business again, going up against the Texas Longhorns, who are 5-3 on the year, 5-3 against the spread, while the Wildcats are 6-2 on the year, 5-1 against the spread. This game is going down 7:00 Eastern Standard Time in Bill Snyder Family Stadium. This line opened up in favor of Texas, -1. The line is now sitting at Texas in -2.5. The total opened up at 54. Right now it's at 54.5. Get to these actual factuals real quick for Texas. They are 6-3 against the spread in the last 9 games. The total has gone 10 out of the last 14 games. 6-3 straight up in the last 9 games. 5-13 against the spread in the last 18 games against Kansas State. They're 5-0 straight up in the last 5 games against Kansas State, but 0-5 against the spread in the last 5 games on the road. 1-8 against the spread in the last 9 games whenever they play on the road against Kansas State. The total has also gone under 8 out of the last 11 games when playing against a Big 12 conference opponent. And for the guys who like to look at the actual factuals in this type of sense, 15-5 straight up in the last 20 games whenever they play in Week 10. For Kansas State, they are 6-2 against the spread in the last 9 games. The total has gone under 10 out of the last 15 games. They are 4-1 straight up in the last 5 games. The unders also hit 7 out of the last 9 games against Texas. 8-1 against the spread in the last 9 games at the crib. 8-3 straight up in the last 11 games against an opponent in the Big 12 Conference. They're also 5-0 against the spread in the last 5 games in Week 10. So, with that being said, injury reports. For Texas, it's pretty much everybody who's been out. Anthony Cook, Isaiah Neer, a couple of guys who've been out for the season. But for Kansas State, quarterback Sean Washington is questionable. Daniel Green, linebacker, is questionable. Adrian Martinez is questionable, but he's probably, he didn't really do his thing. He warmed up first snaps in the pregame, but he did not get to play. We saw Oklahoma State. Last time we saw Texas, they lost 2 weeks ago against Oklahoma State, 41-34. And as I talked about earlier, we just saw Kansas State blanket Oklahoma State this past weekend, 48-0. With that being said, Marley, do you have a play for this one?
I do. I'm going to take the Wildcats here. I'm going to take them as a money line. I've been saying this. People already know they watch the show. I'm not a fan of Texas. Don't think Stark is the right coach for the program. Even though the offense, he's the offensive guy. Even though the offense is doing quite well. I mean, they're averaging over 30 points a game, I believe. 36 points a game. And defense only allowed 21, but it just seems like they can't stop nobody at the right time. They gave up 37 to Tech. You give up 41 to Oklahoma State. I mean, it's Jesus Christ. And, meanwhile, Kansas State has been rolling all season. I mean, they lost to TCU, but we know how good TCU is. I can't think of the other loss right now. It was earlier in the season. But Thompson has been running over everybody, and Deuce Vaughn. He has just as many yards as what's Texas running? Dijon, the running back from Texas. He like
Robinson.
Yeah.
True. He was a Heisman hopeful going into the season. Go ahead.
So give me K-State at the crib. I'm gonna take the money line. I think they're the better team. They're probably not the more talented team, but right now they're the better team. So give me K-State on the money line. I would look over, but the way K-State defense played last week, I mean, I don't know. Is that an aberration or they're giving up 17 points a game. So the defense been playing good, but to blanket, I didn't think they was gonna blank Oklahoma State like that. Like that was just so.
Bro.
But I do like K-State.
It was crazy, man. This Kansas State team, they kind of play very, very similar to Big Ten football. But I'm right there with you. If Martinez comes back, hopefully he's healthy. I feel even better about this. But the young boy that went out last week, he did his thing, and they play great defense. I mean, 48-0. We need to come at Mike Gundy for that one. 48-0. Like, whoa! If we would have did a show last week, that would have been one of my plays I would have gave up to the peoples, and everybody would have been like, "What the fuck?" But I don't think anybody. If you would have told anybody K-State is going to win, not only are they going to beat Oklahoma State, they're going to goose egg them and win by double digits. I don't think there's a man on this world besides somebody who's probably in the Little Apple, Manhattan, Kansas, that would have said, "Yo, they're going to do it." But my official play for this game, I'm going to ride Kansas State plus 2.5 as an official play. So, hey, we appreciate everybody tuning in. I am the coach. This is Marley Bets, and we are Brothas N Bets.
Check it out. Look, we from the bottom, ain't no problems, we gon' make a way. Got no coach on the field, but we making plays. Hey, look, don't worry, we gon' be okay. Hey, look, why? Cause we gon' make them pay.